Good morning and welcome to another edition of Outsider Genie for today's racing. And we've got racing today from Kenilworth, Durbanville. I'm not sure whether he'll be racing. I'm uncertain about the weather condition in Cape Town. So you'll just have to check if racing is continued today. For the people who are listening for the first time to our preview, I'm doing a preview every day of today's racing outside of Genie, and this preview is for free. I just want to explain to the first time at watching this video, outside of Genie is not a tipping service. What I do is I do form analysis. I analyze the form of the race, and from there, I then do certain selections. My specialty is to find outsiders so that you, as the punter, can put these outsiders in whatever play you do. Either maybe you're a straight on the nose punter, or maybe you're a PA or a pick six or a quartet. And because every punter has got his own play that he like to do, so I provide. Normally, you have two outsiders per race, what you then can include into your play. I also provide a horse that I think it can win the race. Sometimes it's a favorite, sometimes it's a bit longer price. I also then, what I also use, I give you 3 selections per race, which is the outright winner and 2 possible outsider selections. I give you value bets to play, normally 6 to 1 and higher. Often my outsiders or my value bets, they might not win, but they do place. I think 70% of the time, at least, they place if they don't win. I also give you a best bet of the day. I don't do just odds-ons. Odds-on, you can find yourself. You can find yourself an 8 to 10 winner or something like that. I don't tip 8 to 10 or 9 to 10 horses. I have tipped decent value horses, even as high as 6 to 1 as the best bet for the day, which has won. The other day, the Val, I tipped Rouge Allure, and I felt so satisfied when that horse won. It was the best bet of the day. It was 7 to 2, won by 5 lengths, pay, and it was race over 200 meters to go. And that is what makes me feel good. I just want to mention, I don't really play myself. I might take a small pick six or a PA, but I found if I don't play myself, then I can make better selections because I don't want to make selections that suits my pocket. I want to make selections that would help you as the punter to find the value in the race so that you can get the better payout. Then I also give suggested trifecta and quartet selections. And quite often my quartets and my trifectas will win. The other day, I'm not sure which course it was, I tipped 3 quartets in a row. The one paid 980, so the other one was 1,300, the other one was 1,700 rand for a box 360. So you can either take that a percentage or you can take it full. It is affordable. Then I also give you a PA between 48 and 96 rand. I recently gave a PA that won 16 times, paid 188, nearly 3,000 rand for a layout of 36 rand. Not bad return. Yeah, I do also give a pick six. Sometimes my pick six is just out by one leg. But keep in mind, I give you 150 rand per maximum for 1%. So you can add on to that because sometimes my pick six will go out and you might have in that leg selected the winner. But we also catch them. Recently for 100 rand perm, we got a payout for 9,000 rand. Now we're all leading up to the July, and everybody wants to know who's going to win the July and how they can make money on the July. So what I'm offering you a subscription from now till the end of the month for 400 rand. From the 400 rand, 100 rand will go into a kitty where we will then play a pick six, a PA, and a jackpot, which you can share, and any profit will be divided between the subscribers in terms of how much you've put into that, the percentage that you've contributed to that pool. All right, then for the Durban July, I'm planning the following. I did the range of Pierre Strydom to give us outside clients, Genie clients, race by race preview of the day's races on Vodacom July Day. I'm still trying to get a sponsor for this as well. I just want to know, as I said just now, I don't find jockeys and trainers and owners, but like me, Pierre Strydom is also a form analyzer. So I've got great respect for his analysis. So therefore, I've arranged for him to give us an analysis for the day's racing. You will receive that a day or two before the races in order to work out your selections. One general preview on non-pix races. What I will do on that day, I'm going to give you a general preview on non-pix races. That will be from races 1 to 3, and then races 10, 11, and 12. But races 6, 4 to 9 for the pick 6 will only be available to subscribers, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a video on each race. So it will be like a 10-minute video per race, where I will discuss the horses' chances, and then I will give you my fancies or selections for that particular race. So in other words, there will be 6 videos. You will also receive our race by race selections, suggested trifectas, quartets, bipod, pixie, PA, and jackpot selection. And then you can WhatsApp us on 083 585 5133. Right, so that is that. So then just move for the next thing. We normally go quickly through a rundown of the previous day's result and what we've achieved. I never tipped in the first 2 races because they were both juvenile events, and in a juvenile anything can happen. So yeah, it's difficult if there's no form to do a form analysis. So then let's just move on and scroll down. One of the in race 4, our outsider selection was number 6, Great Esteem. That ran third, paying R6.20 a place. So I'm quite chuffed about that one. Then in the next race, our outsider selection was number 9, the Ick Factor. That went from start to finish. 20 to 1 at one stage was available. Our outright selection was number 10, Whipping Boy. Whipping Boy moved up like he was going to win the race, but then just ran out of steam, but still finished well enough to be able to finish in the quartet. And if you took my selections, then the quartet wasn't difficult to find, 9, 4, 1, 10, and the quartet paid at 4,483. Because in my preview, I also said I do think Prince Ivanov would run a good race. So number 4 was the favorite. So if you followed my advice, you could have gotten the quartet for 4,483 rand. Then in race number 6, I did say punt on the red light needs to be watched. Went to Cape Town, run one decent race there, and also, Sean Terry wouldn't have taken to the Cape Town if he didn't thought that he had a chance. Then I also advised that Risk Taker will also be running an improved race. Risk Taker duly ran third, paying R6 for a place, ensuring a nice quartet dividend in that race. Then in race 7, I recommended 5 Strada Statale. That was my outside selection to win the race, outright selection, and that was 6 to 1 at one stage. So there you could have made a nice profit. Then I also said in race 8, number 11, Miss Khalifa, not to leave out. She did ran third, paying R2 a place. And then lastly, I said also in my preview, Wheel Chommies must have a chance, has run some decent races. It won, paid R12.50, 12 to 1. And then my other outsider selection was number 7, category 4, which also moved up well, but was involved in a close finish, and that ran 4th. And yeah, all in all, also I did say in my preview at very max not to be left out, so that quartet there was 6,591 rand. So then that is our selections for yesterday. So let's look at the races at Durbanville today. Durbanville always a difficult course because of the tightness, and sometimes horses without, on the outside draw battles to win. Again, here we're looking at a juvenile plate where I don't normally tip. But what I've done is I'll just give you a few horses that I think that you can look to include into your play. The first one being, so I just want to please, you need to be with me because I have really difficulty scrolling up and down with this um, PDF. I believe the experts tell me that my memory is too low, so that's why I'm battling to move this thing up and down. So in race one, one of the horses that you can look at is number 2, Captain's World. It is a first timer, but very well bred, but drawn 10. Then number 3, Desert Illusion. I think over the 1400 meters, Willow Magic out of Western Interme, this horse will definitely improve. Has run it against winners last time. Now back in the maiden, so you need to look at that. And then number 4, Fire Alley, a Flower Alley out of a Galileo Me. Also will definitely fare around better over this distance. One also to include, did ran a nice race last time, was handy. Outpaced the 1400, could suit better. Then the last one I want to point you to at is, here's the favorite, number 6, Hoedspruit. Yeah, this Legistrate is surprising us because he used to be a stallion, then they brought him back, and now he's a stallion again. And it looks this time around that his foals are running better. So maybe a worthy favorite. Fade Herb is now riding in Cape Town after the fiasco with his COVID-19 tests. And the other one I want to point you is number 8, Oratorio. And Oratorio, gee, how are his horses, his children, his offspring running? Uh, Nordic Spring by Fordwood. I think over the 1400 meters drawn 2, this horse is definitely going to improve, and you must include it in whatever play you do. So then we're going to move down to race number 2. And here, race number 2 is also a 1400. And here I'm going to give you a few horses to look at. The first one being number 6, Cut Glass at getting -2.5. This horse is a Ferrari out of Huntingdale May. This horse will definitely appreciate the distance. I have been running here in bouts, but what caught my eye was that 22.3 on Durbanville over the 1250 didn't go on, but the horse was running on at the end at 22.3. It's not too bad, 400 to finish. So you need to include that into your play. And then also number 9. The favorite here is number 8, Dazzling Sun, but had one run behind Flower of Saigon. Flower of Saigon is also in the race, but there's now a 3 kilogram difference. Number 9, Coupe de Grand, a new stallion. Children hasn't shown much, but they're expecting something from him. But I think the 1400 meter will suit his horse better. And it didn't that, if you look at that 21.4, if that is correct, that is definitely not bad. He's drawn 9, but Bielefeld on again. I think this horse would be running on at the end. Definitely a horse that you should include into your betting or into your selections. Then we move on to race 3. Race 3. It's a maiden plate over 1,100 meters. And yeah, we're going to look at a few horses. Number 1 has run a few places, drawn 10 -2.5. Definitely in with a chance. Last time over the yielding didn't show didn't do too well. So check the betting, but for the pick 6 purposes, I'll definitely include this horse. Number 2 also showed pace, but then at the end was a bit of one pace. But what I like about number 2, Enchanted Creek, was the way it finished 22.8. But that was in March before the lockdown, so it's drawn 6. Definitely a horse that you would include into your pick 6 play. Then number 3, Sakura Trick. I'm looking for this horse to improve, but unfortunately draw 12, so put it in your quartets. Here we have a first timer. I don't know, got no idea how this will be. because now we're moving to the 5-year-olds. The horse that I like here, again here we got the Coupe de Gras filly by Faslev May. This horse didn't run too bad. It ran well behind Delta Queen, and then Lemon Delight. And I do feel that this horse hit front, not run on. But I think around the bend today, we're going to suit this horse, and I'm expecting this horse to run a decent race today. Then move on. 6 is a first timer. What's the betting? Then also 7, Duke of Marmalade filly. I do like the Duke of Marmalade fillies. There is a thing going around saying that the fillies are better than the colts, but it's also had 2 starts. First start didn't leg extra late, but I think this horse will get fitter, and I'm expecting it today to run a forward race from draw 1, can be involved in the finish. Then the favorite is the second favorite is number 8, Stuck on You. Yeah, sorry, I forgot to look at the betting. I really apologize about that, because I normally look at the betting. So let's quickly just look at the betting. Before we started, I just checked the site, but now it's just restarted again. So let's go quickly. Race 1, Hoedspruit, 17-10. My Bestie 5-2. Captain's World 7-2. Finally 8-1. Desert Illusion 14. Northern Sting 16. You remember I tipped that one, so that will be a nice one. Savannah Buddy 16-1, 30-1, and longer the other ones. Race 2. Number 8 is favorite, Dazzling Sun 13-10. Sarina 4. Kaya Coca 9-2. Flower of Saigon 11-2. Twice the quality 10-1. Our World, which I suggested, is 14-1. And Swazi Queen 25-1. And the rest longer price. So race 3, your favorite is 2-1 Tanzanite Queen, 4-1 Stuck on You. French Fling 6-1, First Timer Green Light Gal 7-1, Variety Breeze 8-1, Sakura Trick 10, Hello Tomorrow 14, Southern Rose 14, Enchanted Creek 53-1, and longer. So let's just move back to that. So Stuck on You, I think with Bernard Fader, I'm going to stick with this one to run a big race, because this horse is really run against some quality horses. Captain's Flow, Joseph Barry, Eric the Red, Delta Queen, and that was all in small futures. And then now back onto the maidens that run twice on yielding going, and I think that Bernard Verdorp can get stuck into this horse and can bring it home. Then number 9 as a first timer, What's the Betting? And then 10, Tanzanite Queen, Monet winner, but here the draw is 13, can be a problem. Has run well, so you know, when both races on yielding, so you know, can be involved. Well, it can win the race. I don't say it can win the race. It's also by double view. Wow, how is his offspring running? So definitely a big runner. Can we move on to race number 3, which is a nice little contest. I'm sorry, race number 4. Here we have a merit 102 handicap, 1,800. Let's look at the betting quickly. The betting number 4, Love Happens 12-10, Chrome Yellow 28-10, Princess Irene 6-1, Cedar Man 7-1, Chatterhack, Jack 12-1, Sailing Lizard 14, and Xanadu 16s. So what we have here at the moment is we have number 1, Yellow Chrome, or Chrome Yellow. Now, Chrome Yellow, you know, as I said before, I'm going to quickly just explain to for the persons that are watching this for the first time. When you look at a computer form, you'll always find this class B and the average merit rating. That is the average merit rating of the horses in this race. Now, when you go down here and you look at this column here, This is the average merit rating of the horses that this horse ran against before. So the average merit rating for this race is 91. Now, if you look here, 97, 101, 89, 101, 103, 106. So this horse has ran against some decent opposition, but it's coming off a rip, and last time behind SnapScan late run from near, but that was over longer distances. Today it's running over 1800 meter, but has fared well over this distance, so I'm sure that wouldn't be a problem. And it ran one length behind Bulgarian, which is currently one of the favorites for the Durban July. Now, if you look at number four, sorry about the scrolling problem again. It's a headache for me. Now, Love Happens ran against Chrome Yellow. Chrome Yellow carrying 52.5, and Love Happens carrying 59.5. Now, if you look at the turnaround, it is 9 kilograms turnaround. So number 4, Love Happens, should finish in front of Chrome Yellow. But if you look at the merit rating, this one is now 100 to 1. It's now a merit rating 100. But what happened here was in August 2019, they increased the merit ratings by 10 points. So this used to be 86. Then it won the race there in August. It was after the 3rd of August that they increased it. So it went up from 86 to a 92. Okay, so then this horse came back and it says late follow. Okay, so it ran on a little bit from behind. Now, if we move back to number 1, now number 1 is now currently 106. So that is a 3 kilograms difference. But if you look at number 1, also in August, he won the race on beating American Landing. Then he was increased, his merit rating, and then the 10 was added up, and all of a sudden he was a 92. Now he's moved from a 92 to 106 without winning a race, but by just place in decent races. So one can argue that number 1, Chrome Yellow, did earn his merit rating. Therefore, is the big difference in weight at the stage, the turnaround in weights. So I'm gonna put my head on a block, and I would think that number 1, Chrome Yellow, despite of the 9 kilogram turnaround, will win this race. But as again, I can't be wrong. I won't put the house on that prediction. But then I also want you to refer to number 2, Princess Irene. Princess Irene is also of a chance in this race. This horse has run also against some decent opposition. Santa Clara, Savannah's Pride, Seville Orange, SnapScan, Mayabi Gold. Mayabi Gold won a big race the other day. As you can see, SnapScan is not a donkey. He has run some good races. So if there's a horse that can upset the upper card, that will be number 2, Princess Irene. Then we have stablemates of Chrome Yellow that can also upset the upper card here. But I think if everything works out, the race should be between number 1 and 4, with number 2 a possible outsider selection that can upset the 2 favorites. Now we move to race number 5. Here I want to look. It's also a difficult race. Number 3, Pennington, got a draw 13. Oh yeah, let me just look at the betting first. Number 3, Pennington. 3 to 1, then 4 to 1, Policy Target number 11, Blue Ground 6 to 1, Elusive Tangle 8 to 1, Silver Sky 8 to 1, Night Song 9 to 1, El Nick Castle 14, Alfred's Legacy 14, and 16 to 1 and better. The rest. Yeah, guys, as I said previously, I can't discuss the form of each race. It's going to take too long, so I'm just running through a few horses that I think is going to have a chance in this race. Number 3, Paddington, definitely in with a chance, but the problem can be the draw 13. The Silver Sky can run on from the back, but didn't fare too well last time on the yielding going. One to watch. 5, Abraham Lincoln, also there and thereabouts, but I can't see him win today. Then I had a look at number 6, Elney Castle. This looked like a horse that can improve. You can throw that in the back end of your quartets. Brewground also placed last time, but 6 links behind, drawn 5. They can definitely, cause an upset. Then I want to look at this number 8. Number 8 twice over out of this Akatarango me. I don't know that breeding too well, but this horse is drawn 12. But I think this is a nice outsider. Has been running thereabouts on there ran on the 1600 meters, but it's always there and thereabouts. But I think on the 1800 meters can be improving and put that into your quartets and trifectas. Can come up and surprise, as Justin Snave has done that before. Quickly see something here. Okay, yeah, I did touch on number 6, Albany Castle, where I said can be improved, and definitely you need to put that in some of your calculations. So, Billy No Mates, just like the name, sometimes you go to the front and but it's drawn 11. Although on its day it ran 8 90s behind Vardy, which often we know what Vardy is now. That maybe was not a bad run. So gooi into that number 10, Billy No Mates, in the back of your quartets. Then we have the favorite here, number 11, Policy Target. Has had one run now, putting it over 1800 meters. A Master of My Fate out of Prince Polly by Royal Chalice. I'm sure they're looking for this horse to improve. It says here never dangerous, but over 1200 meters, now going for longer. So that concludes race number 4. Now race number 5. Now we move on to race number 6, which is a Felicia Mare 1600, Felicia Mare 88 over 1400 meters. We're looking here at class C 82. Now let's quickly have a look here. Let's have a look at the betting first. The betting is as follows. Our Precious Jewel 22 to 10, Dark Crystal 5 to 1, Caribbean Sunset 5 to 1, Crusades Promise 7 to 1, Gimme 15 to 2, 15 to 2, Windsor Beat, and 14 to 1 and longer the others. So let us look at a few here. Number 1, Dark Crystal. Dark Crystal is attempting this distance for the first time. The 1400 has shown some pace over the shorter distance, and I do think that this, because if I look at the breeding, that this horse will appreciate the longer distance. The problem just being the 12 draw again, but definitely one that you cannot leave out of your picking selection, as Mr. Fader is riding it. And he's a good judge of pace, so he might just get the space. A horse that caught my attention, a lot of my attention, is number 2. It's number 2, Crusades Promise. Now, this, as I said before, the merit rating, the average merit rating in this race is 82, and that is a class that Crusade Promise has run in all the time: 84, 82, 85, 90, 90. But then, yeah, on the yielding going in the 3rd of June, this horse ran really on. He got bumped at the start, and he just failed. He came from second last, 10 links behind on the 800 meters, and really won the race against Cruz along at 25 to 1. But this horse has had 2 runs, course and distance, with 1 win and 1 fourth. It has won 3 times over this distance. I really think that this Crusades problem with Mr. Nose on board will definitely be the horse to beat in this field. Gimme, 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 Roland Kartik, for Cash, Bass Robinson, has run a few places, and on this distance, 4 runs, 1 win and 1 place, but also in the course 4 wins and 4 runs and 1 win. So yeah, definitely a horse that can come and upset last time out in the same race as number 2, came from behind and but finished behind our selection Kathleen and Crusade Filly. Runs a place now and then, can come and surprise as our course and distance 1 win, 1 winner. So definitely a horse that you would include into your quartets and pick sixes and so on. 5 Crowded House also. Yeah, I ran some decent races earlier over shorter, now back over the 1400 meters. It has run this distance 6 runs, 1 win and 1 4th place, drawn 11. Yeah, not, I won't be looking at this one to win today. Then Caribbean Sunset. Definitely the horse in with a big chance is the Captain Out of a Heart of Me. I think that this horse, the 1400 meters was all, like this race, he ran behind number 2, Cruise Along, and based on that race, it's a little bit draw day-eyed, but it shouldn't be a problem. Definitely in with a huge chance. Then number 7, Queen's Barnes. I really do like this King's Barnes offspring. I think they are going to mature. This horse won his 2nd race on the soft by 5.25. Noble Rhythm drew clear follow. Then it ran on behind Pretty Young Thing. Pretty Young Thing came in Durban and won a future year, and then ran there and thereabouts in the last 2. But I do think the 1400 will definitely suit it, and not a horse to leave out. Is currently 14-1 in a betting. Here we have the favorite, our prize Jewel, very well bred. It's a Duke of Marmalade out of our Table Mountain. That horse is throwing, that mare is throwing champions left, right, and center. So this could be another champion. Has had 2 races to win the first one, and then run behind on captain's side. Handy stayed on, drawn 1, and yeah, it is a worthy favorite, and I think that this horse can definitely go in, but I do fancy still number 2, Crusade's Promise, to win this race. Also, horse that can place, you just keep to look out for that one. Hidden Strings can run a place here. It's only carrying 50 kilograms. You see, last time this horse was getting 55, 60, 60. So it's not used to carry that kind of weight. But what caught my eye when I was studying my form was this run behind Pretty Young Thing, ran on Best of Rest. So on, on the Durbanville form, has run this distance to 6 times, 1 win, 2 seconds. But with the 4 kilogram off, this horse is definitely a horse that can come up and surprise. So let's move on to the next race, which would be race 7. All right, let's look at race 7. Which is a merit rated 74. Come on. As I said to you, this is really a problem for me, scrolling up and down with this thing. And now we're back to race 6, so we need to get to race 7. I do apologize, but we'll get it just now. Race 7. Okay, race 7, here we are. So 1400 meters, fillies a mere 74 divided handicap, class D, average merit rating 69. Let's look at the betting quickly. And here we have number 3, Jolly Josephine, 92, 6-1, Meet Me at the George, 6-1, Divas Express, Orford's Flats, 13, Waldorf Astoria, 8-1, Ferrari Red 8-1, Rocker Madua 12-1, Dutch of South State 16-1, and Noble Rift Rhythm 16-1, 18-1, and higher the rest. So here we have Meet at the George. Now, lately I've been getting a bit of a hiding because I'm one of those guys that, I feel that horse after he won its maiden, you need to see what it can do. And so I don't normally play horses that has just won their maiden. And lately, I got a hiding. Yesterday was a case in point where I think it was in the 8th race, the 9 race at Turfontein, where a horse that just won in maiden went in again after that. So yeah, it was an 8th race, I remember now. So number 1, Meet at the George, is nicely bred. Versus Get to Reach out of his Hadler Wells May has won well over the 1400 meters before the rest. Unfortunately, drawn 11. So that can make it difficult, but I am expecting this horse to be involved in the finish. So look out for that for this one. Number 2, Rockemandeur, also won his race last time, maiden. Also, but it's coming up from a very long race. So I think this one would probably need this race. Then we move on to race number 3. Number 3, Jolly Josephine, is from Corey Lensler, who's a ex-Kimberley training, now training in Milderton in the Cape. Getting -4, has run against some decent opposition in the second last race behind Cruise Along over the 1400 meters, now down in class. But I just got the feeling, even at the 4 kilogram, that this 1400 meters is just going to be too short for this horse and is going to be outpaced. But I really hope, for the sake of Corey Lensley, and to break his maiden in Cape Town and get his first winner soon. Divas Express also a first time after a rest, but the horse won so well in February on the 1400 meters, drew off, that you're definitely going to have to include this into your play, because I would be thinking that this horse might go in again, because this field, unfortunately, not too strong. Then we get here to Duchess of State. Duchess of State is one of my, I really think that this horse might be in with a small chance, but unfortunately, draw 14. If it hasn't been for drawn 14, I would have really selected it as one of my possible winners and outsiders. But this horse is running against some good horses. Kelpie is no slouch, and she's a Silvano out of a Fort Wood mare. The 1400 meters, she has had a 3rd and a 4th, but she has run against some decent opposition, including there behind Cruise Along again, also 81. And if there's a horse that can upset a upper card, it would be number 5, Duchess of State. Put it in all your play in terms of your quartets, trifecta, swingers, and exactas. I'm not sure if the horse can win the race from draw 14 today, but definitely can run a place. Then we're going to number 7, Noble Rhythm, Noble Tune, phonetic by Mushek's approval. Now, this, for me, I think this horse has never run over the 1400 meters, but if I look at the way this horse run, I really think that this horse can definitely, is in with a good chance of winning this race. Has run against some decent sort, Free Squeeze Bonds, Point of Sale, Queen's Club, Queen of Gold, My Wicked Ways. And, so it says here, lacked extra late, fought on gamely, good late way. And I think that the 1400 meters will sort this, will suit this horse. And I'm looking this horse to run, improve race, and be involved in the finish. So then we move on to onto the last race, and that's race number 8. I really apologize for this. It's a 1400 meters, merit 78, class C 73. Let's look at the betting quickly. Number 14, Cyberlaw 3-1. Tambora 15-4. Regimental 5-1. Horatius 10-1. Magic Mike 10-1. Pink Floyd 12-1. Icon King 12-1. Doppio Oreo 16. Father Appeal 16. 18 Marco Polo, and 33 and longer the rest. So let's quickly have a look at the last race. Now, I want to look here just to quickly at a few runners for you. Number 2 is Horatius. Horatius, this is a 73. Has run against some decent other horses, but you know, I think, but it's drawn 11. But number 2 is a nice outsider, has been improving, running not too bad before the rest. And yeah, I think Justin Snape with Ronald Carty, unfortunately, the draw 11, but as an outsider in this race, races is what's the betting in number 11. Number 2, it's 10-1, can improve and maybe involved in the finish running a place. Then also number 3, Magic Mike. Magic Mike has also had a few runs, but also drawn widely, unfortunately. But I do think that this horse, yeah, if you have a look at this horse must be a looker. Paid 2 million rand for it. And I know the mare Privy by Summaries, she's thrown quite a bit of quite a few winners in her time. I think she is older than me now, and this horse must have been a looker. I think for them to recoup the 2.1, I'm not sure if that's going to happen. This horse now finds itself in the lower division, but I have run some decent races. I remember this race behind Cam David because Cam David that day was ridden by apprentice, I think Solomon's, and that horse was 20-1, and I had money on this Cam David, and that won the race. So that's what I remember Magic Mike from. So yeah, do include has run 8 things behind Bulgarian, Vikram, not bad horses. If you look at that 93, 88, 89, now running in a 73. So yeah, definitely in with a chance, a good outsider selection. Then, yeah, as I said, there is some horses that have chance. But number 6, Icon King, he's the front runner, drawn 15. The only way they're gonna take this to the front, but I'm not sure if this horse is gonna be able to stay on. The number 7, Regimental, also in with a chance. Has run some decent races over a shorter distance, now over 1400 meters. Watch for improvement over the longer distance. Then we get to number, I want to go to number 9. Number 9 is Tambora. Now, Tambora, drawn free, Bernard Fader, and Tambora, in my mind, this is the horse to beat. Has run some decent races in, you know, around about this division, and always say late effort. So maybe with the good draw, Bernard Fader can bring this one home for the team. Number 10, Final Appeal. Grand Course Monet winner. Did one its maiden run back and then came back and won a sort of a decent race. Didn't quicken, but might have need a run, so keep an eye out for this. This can be an improver. And then the Firewalker, I always follow Firewalker, but Firewalker has run twice over 1400 meters, didn't do anything, drawn 14, so maybe not today. Let's see what else there is. 12 Lucky Dancer has won a few races, but the form doesn't look to expiring, so maybe one to pass. And yeah, then that concludes our presentation for today, our preview. I hope you have a good day's racing, and as I always say, break a leg.